The sharp clatter of a dropped serving spoon echoed through my pristine kitchen as I watched my daughter Sophia's birthday cake tumble to the floor. 16 perfect roses, crafted from buttercream, now splattered across imported Italian tiles. I stood frozen, staring at the mess, my hands trembling. It wasn't just a cake, it was everything I'd been holding inside for years. My name is Daria, and I've spent the last 18 years of my life trying to be the perfect wife and mother in a family that never truly accepted me. Tonight was supposed to be different. Sophia's sweet 16 should have been my moment to prove myself to the Sheltons once and for all. Mama, don't cry. Sophia appeared in the doorway, her dark eyes, so like mine, filled with concern. We can fix it. I wiped my hands on my apron, forcing a smile. Of course we can, Habibi. There's still time before the guests arrive. Let me help, she insisted, already reaching for the spare cake ingredients I always kept stocked. No, you should be getting ready. Your father's family will be here soon. Sophia's face darkened at the mention of her father's family. They won't notice anyway, they never do. The truth in her words stung. I turned away, busying myself with cleaning up the mess. Through the kitchen window, I could see the elaborate tent setup in our backyard, white lights twinkling like stars. Everything had to be perfect. That's what Robert always said. Mrs. Shelton? Our housekeeper Anna appeared in the doorway. Mr. Robert is on the phone. He wants to know if everything is ready for his sister Paula's arrival. Of course he did. Paula, with her society connections and subtle sneers at my Moroccan heritage, always came first. Tell him yes, I replied, already cracking eggs for a new cake. Everything will be perfect. The next few hours passed in a blur of cooking and organizing. I'd prepared all of Sophia's favorites, pastilla with honey and almonds, herb-crusted lamb, and a selection of Mediterranean desserts that would make any chef proud. Not that Robert's family would appreciate the cultural touches. Daria! Robert's voice boomed through the house. Paula and Morgan are here! I quickly smoothed my hair and straightened my dress before heading to the foyer. Paula stood there in her designer outfit, air-kissing Robert's cheeks while Morgan hovered nearby, both of them pointedly ignoring the aromas wafting from my kitchen. The tent looks lovely, Paula commented, speaking to Robert as if I weren't there. Though I would have used the caterer I recommended. Daria insisted on cooking herself, Robert replied, his tone making it clear he agreed with his sister. I felt my cheeks burn but kept my smile fixed in place. The food is ready whenever you'd like to begin. Where's the birthday girl? Morgan chirped, her voice syrupy sweet. As if on cue, Sophia descended the stairs, stunning in her new dress. My heart swelled with pride, and then immediately deflated as Paula rushed forward. Oh, darling, you look just like a Shelton. She embraced Sophia, shooting me a triumphant look over my daughter's shoulder. The evening proceeded exactly as expected. I served course after course while Robert's family held court at the main table, barely acknowledging my presence. Sophia tried several times to include me in conversations, but Paula's loud interruptions and Morgan's strategic topic changes effectively kept me in my place, on the periphery. It wasn't until the guests began leaving that I found the note, tucked beneath my apron on the kitchen counter. Sophia's familiar handwriting made my heart catch. Mama, I saw you tonight, really saw you. The way they treat you, the way Papa lets them. It's not right. You're so much more than they know. Remember how you used to tell me stories about your restaurant dreams back in Casablanca? How you wanted to share our culture through food. I miss that fire in your eyes. Please don't let them extinguish it completely. You deserve better than being their silent chef. I love you. Sophia. The paper trembled in my hands as tears finally spilled over. Through the window I could see Robert laughing with Paula and Morgan by their cars, probably sharing another joke at my expense. Sophia stood apart from them, her eyes fixed on the kitchen window where she knew I'd be watching. She raised her hand in a small wave, and in that gesture, I saw everything I'd been trying to protect her from. By staying quiet, by accepting my role as the family's convenient cook and silent wife, I'd taught my daughter that it was okay to be diminished. The note crumpled in my fist as something inside me shifted. The fire Sophia mentioned, it wasn't extinguished. It had been banked, waiting. And now, watching my daughter stand alone in solidarity with me, I felt it roar back to life. I smoothed out the paper, carefully folding it and tucking it into my pocket. Tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow I would remember who I was before I became Mrs. Shelton. Tomorrow they would learn that they'd underestimated the wrong woman. The morning after Sophia's party, I found myself sitting in Rose's cozy cafe, the same place I'd retreated to countless times over the years when the Shelton mansion felt more like a prison than a home. The smell of freshly baked bread and coffee wrapped around me like a familiar embrace. "You look like hell," Rose said, sliding into the booth across from me. Her chef's apron was dusted with flour, her gray-streaked hair escaping its bun. "Spill it." I pushed Sophia's note across the table. Rose read it, her expression darkening with each line. "That girl of yours," she said. "She sees everything, doesn't she?" "She shouldn't have to." I wrapped my hands around my coffee mug, seeking warmth. "When I first came to America, I had such dreams, Rose. My little restaurant in Casablanca was thriving. I thought marrying Robert meant I could dream bigger." "Instead, you became their personal chef," Rose finished, her voice sharp with anger. "When was the last time you actually cooked for joy, Daria? Not for them, not for show, but for yourself?" The question hit me like a physical blow. "I can't remember." "Then it's been too damn long." Rose leaned forward, her eyes intense. "Remember when you first started working here? Before Robert? You had plans for a fusion restaurant, Moroccan meets modern American. Your test dishes had people lining up around the block. That was different. I was different." "Bullshit." Rose's palm slapped the table, making our coffee cups rattle. "You're still that same woman. You're just buried under years of Paula's condescension and Robert's indifference." A young couple at the next table glanced our way, but Rose ignored them. "You know who called me this morning?" she continued. "Brock Duncan. Remember him? That cocky kid you mentored in culinary school?" I nodded. Brock had been talented but directionless until I'd taken him under my wing. "He's looking to invest in a new restaurant. Says the market's perfect right now for something authentic, something with a story." Rose's eyes gleamed. "He asked about you specifically." My heart skipped a beat. "Rose, I can't what? Can't reclaim your life? Can't show your daughter what it means to stand up for yourself?" She pulled out her phone, scrolling through messages. "Brock's at that new coffee shop on 5th Street right now. He's got an hour before his next meeting." "You already told him I'd come, didn't you?" Rose's smile was unapologetic. "Damn right I did. Now go wash your face, fix your hair, and remember who you were before you became Mrs. Shelton." 20 minutes later, I walked into the trendy coffee shop, spotting Brock immediately. He'd grown from that scruffy culinary student into a polished businessman, but his eyes lit up with the same enthusiasm when he saw me. "Chef Daria!" He stood, pulling me into a warm hug. "God, how long has it been?" "Too long," I admitted, settling into the chair across from him. "I heard about your daughter's party last night. Whole food scene was buzzing about your Bastilla." He leaned forward. "That's actually why I wanted to talk to you. I've got this space opening up in the Arts District. Prime location, amazing bones, but it needs the right concept, the right story." I found myself leaning in too, caught by the excitement in his voice. "Remember those fusion dishes you used to create? The way you balanced traditional Moroccan flavors with modern techniques?" He pulled out a tablet, showing me pictures of a beautiful old building. "Imagine that, but elevated. A place where culture meets innovation, where every dish tells a story." "My story," I whispered, and something long dormant stirred in my chest. "Exactly." Brock's grin widened. "And the timing couldn't be better. The food scene is craving authenticity right now. Real stories, real passion." My phone buzzed, a text from Robert. "Paula's coming for dinner. Make that lamb dish she likes." I stared at the message, feeling the familiar weight of expectations pressing down. But this time, instead of acquiescing, I thought of Sophia's note, of the fire she wanted to see in my eyes again. "What exactly are you proposing?" I asked Brock. He spent the next 30 minutes outlining his vision, or rather, my old vision, updated for today's market. With every word, every possibility he described, I felt more of my old self emerging. I'd need 3 months, I heard myself say. To develop the menu, train staff, get everything perfect. Brock's eyebrows shot up. Is that a yes? It's a maybe? I stood, straightening my shoulders. Send me the business proposal, all of it, finances, timeline, everything. I need to know exactly what I'm getting into. He scrambled to his feet. You'll have it tonight. Walking back to my car, I felt lighter than I had in years. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Robert asking about dinner. This time I smiled as I typed my response. Making something new tonight. Time for a change. The fire Sophia mentioned? It wasn't just flickering anymore, it was blazing. What do you mean you're opening a restaurant? Robert's voice cut through our bedroom as I packed my overnight bag. We already discussed this years ago. The Shelton name can't be associated with... He waved his hand dismissively. Street food. I continued folding my clothes, each movement deliberate and calm. It's not street food, Robert. It's fine dining with cultural influences. And I'm not using the Shelton name. That made him pause. Excuse me? The restaurant will be called Casablanca Nights, under my name, Daria Amrani. The sound of my maiden name seemed to physically pain him. Have you lost your mind? What about your responsibilities here? Who's going to handle the dinner parties, the social events? You can hire a caterer, like Paula always wanted. I zipped up my bag. I'm taking 3 months to develop the menu and train staff. I'll stay at the guest house near the restaurant site. 3 months? Robert's face reddened. You can't just leave. Watch me. The door creaked open and Sophia stood there, school bag still over her shoulder. Her eyes darted between us, understanding dawning on her face. You're really doing it? She asked, a smile breaking across her features. You're opening your own place? Sophia, go to your room, Robert ordered. This doesn't concern you. Actually, it does, I said, meeting my daughter's gaze. Because part of the restaurant's mission will be providing culinary scholarships for young women from immigrant families. The Sophia Initiative. My daughter's eyes welled with tears as Robert scoffed. This is ridiculous, he spat. You're throwing away everything we've built. No, Robert, I'm building something of my own. I turned to Sophia. Would you like to see the space? Brock's meeting me there in an hour. Brock Duncan? Robert's tone shifted from dismissive to concerned. The restaurant developer? You're working with him? He's my partner in this venture. Well, minor partner. I allowed myself a small smile. I'm the majority stakeholder. Sophia bounced on her toes. Can I really come see it? Absolutely not. Robert stepped between us. You have piano lessons. Actually, Sophia pulled out her phone, showing a calendar app. I quit piano last month. Told Mrs. Harrison I needed to focus on my college applications. You'd know that if you ever asked about my lessons instead of just paying the bills. Robert's mouth opened and closed soundlessly as Sophia walked past him to stand beside me. Let's go, Mama. The restaurant space took my breath away. Exposed brick walls, soaring ceilings with original wooden beams, and windows that filled the room with natural light. Brock was waiting inside with blueprints spread across a makeshift table. Chef. He straightened up, then noticed Sophia. And this must be the namesake of our scholarship program. Sophia beamed. This place is amazing. Look at those archways. They're just like in the photos of your old restaurant in Morocco, Mama. That's exactly what I thought, Brock said, pulling out some design sketches. We're thinking of incorporating traditional Moroccan architectural elements, but with a modern twist. Your mother's food philosophy in physical form. I ran my hand along the brick wall, remembering my tiny kitchen in Casablanca. The open kitchen will go here, I said, pointing. I want guests to see the process, the passion that goes into each dish. Like your Thursday cooking lessons with me, Sophia added. Remember how you always said food tastes better when you can see the love that goes into it? Brock raised an eyebrow. Thursday cooking lessons? Every Thursday since I was little, Mama would teach me a new recipe from Morocco. Sophia's voice softened. It was our special time, just us. No Shelton family rules or expectations. That's exactly the feeling we want to create here, Brock said, scribbling notes. Authentic, intimate, special. My phone buzzed, Paula calling. I declined it. The contractors can start next week, Brock continued. We'll need to move fast to hit our timeline. About that timeline, I said, pulling out my own notebook, I want to open exactly 3 months from today. That's ambitious, Brock hesitated. It's perfect, I corrected. It's the same night as Paula's annual charity gala. Sophia's eyes widened as she caught my meaning. The one where all of Dad's society friends attend? The very same. I smiled, remembering every slight, every dismissive comment Paula had ever made about my cooking. We'll send out our opening night invitations first thing tomorrow. Mama, Sophia whispered, you're kind of scary right now. No, Habibi. I pulled her close, kissing the top of her head. I'm just finally awake. Brock looked between us, then grinned. Well then, let's make sure this opening night is one the city never forgets. Standing in that empty space, my daughter's hand in mine and plans spreading out before me, I felt more alive than I had in 18 years. Robert and his family wanted to keep me in my place? Fine. I'd create my own place, and make sure they had a front row seat to watch me do it. So what made you decide to burn it all down? Ellis asked, her recorder placed between us on the guest house's kitchen counter. The young journalist had been recommended by Rose, who swore she could be trusted to tell my story the right way. I sprinkled Ras El Hanout into the simmering tagine. I'm not burning anything down. I'm building something up. While coincidentally scheduling your opening night to compete with your sister-in-law's biggest social event of the year? Ellis's eyes sparkled with understanding. Try this, I said, offering her a spoonful of the sauce. Her eyes widened at the taste. Oh my God, she moaned. This is incredible. What's in it? Family secrets, I winked. Speaking of secrets. I slid my phone across the counter, showing her the text I'd received that morning from Morgan. Ellis read aloud. Heard about your little project. Hope you're not expecting any coverage. Paula's already arranged exclusives with all the major food critics for her gala. Wow, they're playing dirty. They always do. I adjusted the heat under the tagine. But they forget. I've been watching them play for 18 years. The door burst open and Sophia rushed in, clutching her laptop. Mama, you need to see this. She pulled up a social media post from Morgan, a photo of Paula meeting with James Porter, the city's most influential restaurant critic, with the caption, planning something special for the annual gala. Foodie, heaven, exclusive access. They're trying to lock down all the media coverage, Sophia fumed. It's not fair. Ellis leaned forward, suddenly very interested. May I? She gestured to Sophia's laptop. After a few clicks, she smiled. James Porter, huh? Fun fact, he was my mentor at culinary school before I switched to journalism. He's always had a weakness for authentic cultural cuisine and interesting stories. I met her gaze. How interesting. Well, Ellis closed the laptop. What's more interesting than a talented chef reclaiming her heritage and creating opportunities for other immigrant women, all while certain society figures try to shut her down? Sophia bounced in her seat. Could you really help us get coverage? Better. Ellis pulled out her phone. I could help you get the right coverage, the kind that makes Paula's charity gala look exactly like what it is. Rich people patting themselves on the back while trying to suppress actual cultural innovation. A knock at the door interrupted us. Rose entered, looking troubled. We've got a problem. Morgan was just at the cafe meeting with some of your potential suppliers. She's trying to convince them to back out of their contracts with you. My hands stilled over the tagine. Can she do that? She's offering them exclusive contracts with all of Paula's charity events. Year-round business versus just your restaurant. Rose's face hardened. Some of them are considering it. Then we'll find new suppliers, I said, but my voice wavered. No. Sophia stood up, determination blazing in her eyes. We'll do better than that. Ellis, can you come with me? I have an idea. They disappeared for hours. When they returned, Sophia was practically glowing. Remember Mrs. Patel from my school? She asked. The one who always brings those amazing samosas to Cultural Day? Her family owns 3 international food markets in the city. And Mr. Ramirez from the community center? His brother runs a wholesale produce company. Ellis picked up the thread. We spent the afternoon meeting with immigrant business owners who've dealt with similar tactics from bigger competitors. They're not just willing to supply Casablanca nights, they want to be part of the story. What story? I asked. The story of how a group of immigrant entrepreneurs came together to support one of their own against... Ellis checked her notes with a grin. What Mrs. Patel called country club colonizers trying to control the city's food scene. Rose let out a low whistle. Paula's not going to like that narrative. No, I agreed, a slow smile spreading across my face. She's not. My phone buzzed. Another text from Morgan. Hope you're not in too deep yet. Would hate to see you embarrass yourself. Sophia read it over my shoulder and snorted. She really doesn't know who she's dealing with, does she? None of them do, Rose said. That's going to be their biggest mistake. Ellis was already typing on her phone. James just agreed to meet for coffee tomorrow. He's intrigued by the situation. I turned back to my tagine, adding a pinch more saffron. The spice bloomed in the heat, releasing its distinct aroma. Precious, powerful, and impossible to ignore. Just like the truth we were about to serve up. Sophia, I called over my shoulder, get your notebook. It's time I taught you my special Bistilla recipe, the one that won me my first restaurant in Casablanca. The one you never made for Paula's parties? She asked. Exactly. I smiled, remembering the dish that had started my culinary journey. Some recipes you save for people who actually appreciate them. Ellis hit record on her device again, catching the moment. In the background, Rose was already making calls to more potential allies. The pieces were falling into place, forming a picture Paula and Morgan never saw coming. They wanted to play games with contracts and critics? Fine. I'd show them what 18 years of simmering rage could cook up. The invitations to Casablanca Night's grand opening hit social media like a perfectly timed bomb. Gold-embossed cards featuring intricate Moroccan patterns and the promise of a revolutionary culinary experience appeared on the Instagram feeds of every major food influencer in the city. Your phone's been buzzing non-stop, Sophia said, peering over my shoulder as I worked in the nearly completed restaurant kitchen. Is that Paula calling again? Third time today. I checked the latest message and laughed. Now, Morgan's threatening to call Robert's lawyer. Because you're opening a restaurant? Sophia rolled her eyes. That's pathetic, even for them. The kitchen door swung open, and Brock rushed in, looking flustered. We might have a situation. Rose was just seen having lunch with Morgan at the Westbrook Club. My hands froze over the spice mixture I was preparing. What? My contact saw them sharing papers, looking pretty intense. Brock ran a hand through his hair. I know Rose is your friend, but... She's more than a friend, I interrupted. She's family. There has to be an explanation. Sophia pulled out her phone. I'll call her. No need. Rose's voice came from the doorway. She stood there, holding a thick folder. I was wondering how long it would take for someone to spot me. Care to explain? I kept my voice steady, even as my heart raced. Rose walked over, dropping the folder on the prep table. Morgan approached me last week, offering to buy information about your menu, your suppliers, everything. She opened the folder, revealing dozens of documents. So I gave her exactly what she wanted. I flipped through the papers, supplier contracts, menu items, staff schedules, all of them fake. She thinks you're planning a basic Mediterranean bistro, Rose continued, a wicked gleam in her eye. Complete with frozen phyllo dough and pre-made hummus. I told her you were in way over your head, trying to cut corners everywhere. Sophia burst out laughing. So when they try to undermine us, they'll be working with completely wrong information, Rose finished. Morgan's already started spreading rumors about how amateur the whole operation is. Paula's practically gloating. Brock whistled low. Remind me never to get on your bad side. That's not all, Rose pulled out her phone. While I was playing double agent, I got some interesting dirt. Turns out Paula's been inflating the donation numbers from her charity galas for years, taking credit for contributions that never made it to the actual charities. My eyes widened. Can you prove it? Every word. Rose's smile was sharp. Ellis is fact-checking everything now. The story drops 2 days before our opening. The kitchen door swung open again as Ellis herself hurried in. Speaking of stories, James Porter's review is ready. He wants to know if you're sure about publishing it the morning of the opening. Absolutely, I said, returning to my spice mixing. Paula needs time to read it over her morning coffee. It's brutal, Ellis warned. Not to your food, he raves about that, but he really goes after the cultural gatekeeping in the city's food scene, names names, calls out specific incidents. Good. I measured out saffron with careful precision. Let them see themselves as others see them. Sophia hopped onto a clean prep table, swinging her legs. Dad called earlier, said we're making a huge mistake, that we don't understand how things work in their world. No, I sprinkled the finished spice mixture over the lamb shoulder, waiting to be slow roasted. They don't understand how things work in mine. In our world, food isn't about status or social climbing. It's about heritage, heart, and honor. Speaking of honor, Brock checked his watch. The first round of staff training starts in 10 minutes. Real recipes this time, I assume? I nodded, washing my hands. Time to show them what we're really about to unleash. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with another message from Paula. Morgan told me everything. You're embarrassing yourself. Back out now, and we'll help you save face. I showed the message to Rose, who snorted. Should we tell her she's the one about to be embarrassed? No, I smiled, typing a reply. Thank you for your concern. Invitation to opening night will arrive tomorrow. Sophia read the exchange and shook her head. They still think they're in control, don't they? That's the beauty of it, Ellis said, already taking notes. They're so convinced of their own superiority, they can't imagine being outplayed. The kitchen doors opened once more as my new staff began filing in, eyes bright with excitement. These weren't the jaded culinary school graduates Paula would have hired. These were people like me, immigrants, dreamers, fighters, each with their own story, their own fire. I picked up my chef's knife, its weight familiar and reassuring in my hand. Ready to learn some real Moroccan cooking? Their eager nods warmed my heart. In 1 week, we would show the city what authentic cuisine truly meant. Paula and Morgan thought they were spreading rumors about my restaurant? Fine. Let them talk. In 7 days, everyone would see exactly what I'd been cooking up all these years. And it would be absolutely delicious. Opening night arrived in a whirlwind of spices, flowers, and camera flashes. The line outside Casablanca nights stretched around the block, a mix of food critics, social media influencers, and curious locals drawn by James Porter's glowing review that morning. Mama! Sophia burst into the kitchen, her traditional Moroccan dress shimmering under the lights. Paula just posted on Instagram. She's deeply concerned about the low attendance at her gala. How low are we talking? Rose asked, putting final touches on a row of dessert plates. Sophia held up her phone triumphantly. Half their usual numbers. Turns out people prefer authentic cuisine over charity rubber chicken. Focus, everyone, I called out, though I couldn't hide my smile. First service starts in 20 minutes. The kitchen hummed with energy as my hand-picked team moved with practiced precision. Every dish we'd rehearsed, every timing we'd perfected, was about to be put to the test. They're here, Brock announced, stepping into the kitchen. Robert just pulled up with Paula and Morgan. I straightened my chef's coat. Right on schedule. Sophia? My daughter nodded, heading out to the dining room to take her position. We'd rehearsed this moment countless times. Through the kitchen's glass walls, a design choice I'd insisted on, I watched Robert's family enter. Paula's face was pinched with barely concealed rage, while Morgan kept checking her phone, probably monitoring the social media disaster unfolding at their gala. Welcome to Casablanca Nights, Sophia's voice rang clear across the packed dining room. I'm Sophia Amrani, and tonight we're celebrating more than just the opening of a restaurant. We're celebrating dreams that refuse to be silenced. Paula's head snapped up at Sophia's use of my maiden name. Robert's face darkened. As many of you know, Sophia continued, my mother came to this country with nothing but her talent and determination. Tonight, she's using that same determination to help other immigrant women chase their culinary dreams. Ellis, positioned strategically with her camera, captured every reaction as Sophia unveiled the scholarship program. The Sophia Initiative will provide full culinary school scholarships to 5 immigrant women each year, along with guaranteed apprenticeships here at Casablanca Nights. Applause erupted through the dining room. Paula tried to interrupt, but her voice was drowned out by the cheering. And now, Sophia's eyes found mine through the kitchen glass. Please welcome my mother, Chef Daria Amrani. I stepped out into the dining room to thunderous applause. Robert started to stand, but Morgan grabbed his arm, whispering frantically. Thank you all for coming tonight, I said, my voice steady and clear. Especially my husband's family who've provided such inspiration over the years. Paula's face went from red to purple as scattered laughter rippled through the crowd. Tonight's menu tells a story, I continued. Each dish represents a piece of my journey, from my first restaurant in Casablanca to this moment right here. But more importantly, each dish represents the future we're building. A future where talent and passion speak louder than social connections. More applause. James Porter, seated front and center, nodded approvingly. And so, I smiled directly at Paula, I'd like to dedicate this opening night to everyone who's ever been told to stay in their place. Your place is wherever you choose to make it. The first courses began flowing from the kitchen. I watched with satisfaction as even Paula couldn't hide her reaction to the Bastilla, the very recipe she'd dismissed as street food years ago, now elevated to an art form. This is incredible, I heard Morgan whisper, then catch herself as Paula shot her a venomous look. Sophia appeared at my side. Mrs. Patel says her markets have been flooded with calls asking about Moroccan ingredients, and Mr. Ramirez's produce company just signed 3 new restaurant contracts. Community supporting community, Rose said, bringing out another round of plates. Funny how that works. Through the evening, I moved between kitchen and dining room, watching my vision come to life. Every dish perfect, every service smooth, every reaction exactly as I'd hoped. Near the end of service, Robert approached the kitchen door. I met him there. This is quite something, he said stiffly. I never realized. That's the problem, Robert. You never did. I gestured to the bustling kitchen behind me. This is who I've always been. You just never bothered to look. Paula's furious, he said, almost smiling. The gala was a disaster. Everyone left early to come here instead. How unfortunate, I replied, not bothering to hide my satisfaction. He started to say something else, but Sophia appeared with the evening's final dessert course. My signature saffron cream with honey-drizzled phyllo, the recipe I'd refused to share with Paula for 18 years. Excuse me, I said to Robert. I have paying customers to attend to. As I walked away, I heard Sophia tell him, You should try the dessert, Dad. It's amazing what people can create when you stop trying to contain them. The night wound down in a blur of praise and press photos, but my favorite moment came when I overheard Morgan whisper to Paula, Maybe we should have been nicer to her. Paula's response was lost in the applause, but it didn't matter. The look on her face said everything. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is served on a perfectly plated dish. The morning after opening night, I sat in my new office at Casablanca Nights, surrounded by newspaper reviews and social media notifications. Ellis had just left after dropping off advance copies of every major publication in the city, each featuring glowing reviews of our opening. A knock at the door made me look up. Sophia stood there with 2 cups of Moroccan mint tea. Have you seen Paula's latest post? She asked, setting a cup in front of me. I shook my head and she pulled up Instagram on her phone. Paula's carefully curated charity gala photos showed half-empty tables and strained smiles. The comments were brutal. Where was everyone? Heard Casablanca Nights was the place to be. Maybe next year focus less on exclusivity and more on actual charity? She's deleted it 3 times and reposted with different filters, Sophia grinned. Nothing's helping. Another knock interrupted us. Rose entered, looking concerned. We need to talk about Robert. My stomach tightened. What about him? He's outside. Says he won't leave until you hear him out. Rose crossed her arms. Want me to call security? I glanced at Sophia, who shrugged. It's your call, Mama. After a moment's consideration, I nodded. Send him in. Robert looked different somehow. Smaller, less imposing in the morning light filtering through my office windows. He held a newspaper in his hands, James Porter's review facing up. You've made quite a statement, he said, placing the paper on my desk. That was the point. He shifted uncomfortably. Paula's husband called this morning. Their foundation's biggest donors are asking questions about the charity numbers Rose exposed. There's talk of an audit. How unfortunate, I echoed his words from last night. Daria, he sighed, what do you want? To destroy my family's reputation? Sophia stepped forward. Funny how it's always about your family, never about ours. Robert flinched as if she'd struck him. Sophia, please, you don't understand. No, Dad, I understand perfectly. Sophia's voice was steady. I watched for years as you let your family treat Mama like she was beneath them, like her culture, her talent, her dreams didn't matter. And you know what's worse? I started to believe it too. That's not true, Robert protested. I never what? I interrupted. Never stopped them? Never stood up for us? Never even noticed how much it hurt your own daughter to see her mother diminished? I thought I was protecting you both, he said weakly, helping you fit in. By erasing everything that made me who I am? I stood up, my hands flat on the desk. That's not protection, Robert. That's erasure. A commotion outside drew our attention. Through the office windows, I could see Paula storming through the restaurant, Morgan trailing behind her. Let me handle this, Sophia said, squaring her shoulders. Sophia? Robert reached for her, but she was already moving. We watched through the windows as Sophia intercepted Paula before she could reach the office. Even from here, I could see Paula's face turn red as Sophia stood her ground. What's she saying? Robert asked, moving closer to the window. Why don't we find out? I opened the door, letting Paula's voice carry in. Ungrateful little traitors, after everything our family has done. Done what? Sophia's voice cut through Paula's tirade. Done your best to make my mother feel worthless? Done everything possible to remind us we're not real Sheltons? How dare you, Paula started, but Sophia wasn't finished. No, how dare you? You want to talk about family? Look around. Sophia gestured to the restaurant. This is family. Every person here believes in Mama's vision, supports her dreams, celebrates her culture instead of trying to suppress it. Morgan tugged at Paula's sleeve. Maybe we should go. Yes, I said, finally stepping forward. You should. Paula whirled to face me, but whatever she saw in my expression made her pause. Your charity numbers are being investigated, I continued calmly. Your social standing is in shambles, and the worst part? It's all your own doing. I just had to step aside and let everyone see who you really are. This isn't over, Paula hissed, but her voice wavered. Actually, it is. Robert's voice surprised us all. He moved to stand beside Sophia. Enough, Paula. You've done enough damage. Paula's mouth fell open. Even Morgan looked shocked. But she's ruining everything, Paula sputtered. No, Robert said quietly. We did that ourselves, all of us. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Morgan grabbed Paula's arm. Come on, we're leaving. As they retreated, Robert turned to me. I know it's too late to fix everything, but... You're right, I cut him off. It is too late, but it's not too late to start over, as equals this time. Sophia slipped her hand into mine, and I squeezed it tight. I'd like that, Robert said softly. Good. I gestured to the dining room, where my staff was preparing for lunch service. Then why don't you stay? See what your wife and daughter can really do when we're free to be ourselves. The look of pride on Sophia's face made everything, every slight, every struggle, every moment of doubt, worth it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about building something so beautiful they can't help but see what they've lost. The autumn breeze carried the scent of saffron and roses through Casablanca Night's open doors as I watched Sophia adjust her chef's coat in the kitchen mirror. Her hands trembled slightly as she straightened the embroidered name. Sophia Amrani, sous chef. Ready? I asked, though I already knew the answer. She'd been ready for this moment since she was 16. Almost? She pulled an envelope from her pocket. Remember this? I recognized her note from that fateful birthday party instantly. The paper was worn now, creased from countless readings. I keep it in my wallet, I admitted, to remind me. I have something new to add to it. She handed me a fresh piece of paper. I wrote it this morning. The door opened before I could read it. Ellis poked her head in, camera ready. They're here. First group of scholarship recipients just arrived. Sophia bounced on her toes. How many applications did we end up with? Over 300, Rose answered, entering with a stack of prep lists. For 5 spots. Though after that piece Ellis wrote about the program, we got enough donations to fund 5 more. 10 dreams coming true, I smiled, tucking Sophia's new note into my pocket for later. Let's go meet them. We walked into the dining room together, where 10 young women stood nervously in a cluster. Their faces reminded me of my own arrival in America, that mix of hope and uncertainty, determination and fear. Welcome to your new home, I began, but a commotion at the door interrupted me. Robert entered, followed by Paula. My body tensed automatically, but something was different. Paula's usual pristine appearance was slightly disheveled, her eyes red-rimmed. I'm sorry we're late, Robert said quietly. Paula has something she'd like to say. The room fell silent as Paula stepped forward. She clutched a newspaper, the morning's edition featuring a story about her foundation's audit and subsequent restructuring. She faltered, then straightened her shoulders. I came to offer something. After the audit, after everything. I've been doing a lot of thinking. About family, about pride, about the difference between maintaining appearances and maintaining values. She turned to face the scholarship recipients. My foundation has been reorganized. New board, new mission. We'd like to partner with the Sophia Initiative. Match the scholarships, double the impact. Sophia's hand found mine as whispers rippled through the room. Why? I asked simply. Because you were right, Paula's voice cracked. About everything. About what really matters. About what family should mean. She met my eyes directly. I spent so long trying to keep people out that I forgot why we built these institutions in the first place. It's not that simple, I said. Trust takes time. I know, Paula nodded. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to do better, to be better. I looked at Sophia, seeing the same cautious hope in her eyes that I felt. We'll need to discuss the details. Set clear terms. Of course. Paula reached into her bag, pulling out a folder. I brought a proposal, reviewed by Robert's new lawyers. Complete transparency, joint oversight. Rose took the folder, already scanning the contents with sharp eyes. I'll look this over carefully. I wouldn't expect anything less, Paula said, and for the first time, there was respect in her voice. I turned back to our scholarship recipients, who had watched the exchange with wide eyes. This is your first lesson in the culinary world. Sometimes the most unexpected ingredients create the finest dishes. Sophia stepped forward. And sometimes the strongest families are the ones we build ourselves, one person at a time. The rest of the morning passed in a blur of introductions and orientations. As our new students toured the kitchen, I finally pulled out Sophia's note from my pocket. Dear Mama, it read. Remember when I told you I missed the fire in your eyes? Now I see it every day, not just in you, but reflected in every person whose life you've touched. You didn't just reclaim your dreams. You created a space where others could dream too. That's real power. That's real revenge. That's real love. Thank you for showing me what it means to stand tall, to fight smart, and to win with grace. Love, Sophia. I looked up to see my daughter demonstrating proper knife technique to our new students, her movements confident and precise. Robert stood nearby, watching with genuine pride. Even Paula, seated at the bar with Rose reviewing the proposal, seemed transformed, softer somehow, more human. Beautiful sight, isn't it? Ellis appeared beside me, camera clicking. Want to know my favorite part of this whole story? What's that? It's not over. She grinned. It's just beginning. She was right. This wasn't an ending. It was a transformation of family, of power, of purpose. The revenge I'd sought had evolved into something far more satisfying. Creation instead of destruction. Inclusion instead of exclusion. Strength through unity rather than division. I tucked Sophia's note back into my pocket and headed toward the kitchen. There were lessons to teach, dreams to nurture, and a new kind of family to build. And this time, everyone was welcome at the table.